Hello everyone and welcome to another game of World of Warships. Today we are watching CLyDeThaMonKeY in the Roon, the tier 9 German cruiser. He is on the map Okinawa in a 3-point domination game mode. It's a tier 10 battle, but there are very few tier 10s around. There is one carrier tier 8, but there are quite a few destroyers. Now destroyers aren't that problematic when you're in a cruiser. There is only one enemy battleship, so that's really nice matchmaking for a cruiser. Unfortunately, Clyde doesn't have hydroacoustics with him, but he should be quite fine against the carrier. So there is that. Now, if you don't know Clyde, he is a Twitch streamer. He also has a YouTube channel. I will put a link to both in the video description. And yes, at the beginning of the match he is heading towards Point Charlie. The destroyers in his division are here going for Bravo, and I have no idea what the majority of his team is doing. Maybe they are sticking around here. Ideally, at this map you want to control Bravo and Charlie, because Alpha is... there is a big mountain separating the top point from the other two. So it's hard to defend Alpha and Bravo together. And you want to have 2 points, so bottom 2 would be nice to have. Fortunately, it seems like not everyone on the team is agreeing to that. We can also see here the one and only enemy battleship is around here, and we saw an enemy cruiser who showed broadside, I guess. Oh, I think he got detonated. Poor guy. Now there is already an enemy destroyer here in the cap, which is unsurprising considering the number of enemy destroyers. And this North Carolina could be a problem, but currently the guns aren't pointing this way yet, so doesn't have to be worried yet. And he just used his torpedoes here to look in which direction the North Carolina was going. And looks like there is an airstrike coming for the North Carolina, which is nice. Now he is showing his broadside, but once again the turrets aren't pointing in his direction, so the North Carolina can't shoot him currently. The enemy Roon can though, and yeah, that hurts. Also keep in mind that if you see someone fire and the guns aren't completely rotated in that direction, that's just a bug in the replay system. Now the friendly team lost the point Alpha, and it seems like a lot of ships are going there, which again they think they'd be better off just going for Bravo. There are still some friendly destroyers here in the center who might get the point. And yeah, the fight for Point Charlie is still underway. Now, as a cruiser, this is typically how you start out your game. You keep your distance, you try to set fires, and you try not to go your broadside too often or you get punished. Now here, thankfully, there aren't too many battleships around. And the destroyers are doing a good job in fighting for the caps here. Though as a cruiser you wanna kind of be in range to support your destroyers if they spot something. And unfortunately they just lost the friendly destroyer, but they managed to take the point. The enemy Roon is showing broadside. Clyde is continuing to fire high explosive, but the enemy Roon is already turning away, so it's probably the right choice to stick with high explosive here. And it looks like the friendly team might actually get point Alpha here. Now Clyde is now going to reinforce the center. They already got Point Charlie. It doesn't seem like an enemy is pushing this way, and as a cruiser he can hopefully support his destroyer here and go hunt down some enemy destroyers. Meanwhile, we can see a friendly battleship who is unfortunately going well into the far north, where he isn't that much help. Now you can see those ships, they have control of the northern point, but due to this island they can't really help their teammates down here. It's still a pretty even match, but a friendly team has to capture zones, so if the enemies can't capture something soon, they will be behind a lot. And there is a cyclone incoming. Now I'm not sure why this enemy destroyer here has stopped. I think he probably wants to hide here in smoke, but I can't see any smoke currently, so there is the smoke, but it's a little bit too late. But okay, maybe it isn't. It seems like the enemy destroyer survived. Now there is a Mogami, and he is showing broadside. Now Clyde switched to armor piercing. This Mogami will soon be gone. Yeah, the Kagero is visible again. Down he goes. Now the friendly teams in the lead, they do have a majority of the capture zones now. Maybe the enemies can turn this around under the cover of a cyclone. Maybe they can steal a point. The point Charlie here is not really defended. The majority of the friendly team is still out of position to help here in the center. And there are a lot of torpedoes coming for Clyde. Now Clyde has been part of the NA versus EU contributor match that happened quite a while ago. So he has seen a lot more torpedoes. Fortunately, he didn't completely dodge those. But yes, I mean, compared to the 12 versus 12 Shimakaze match, that was like nothing. Now Clyde's pushing in here. He has the support of 2 destroyers, unfortunately not too much else here of his team. And there is an enemy cruiser who is nicely showing broadside. Now Clyde himself, of course, has to be careful. He might be showing a bit too much broadside as well. And yep, this could end up in quite some brawl here. And there are more torpedoes incoming. He can't dodge them all, but thankfully no flooding. And now the enemy is way too close to show broadside. Now there are destroyers here towards the right. There is still a destroyer here towards the left. And thankfully I think this sinking ship provides some sort of cover. There are planes incoming, although the planes are, I think, only fighter planes, so nothing much to worry about. There will be there are torpedoes coming from the Shimakaze, but the friendly torpedo bombers probably have spotted the torpedoes early on. So he has time, and yes, he can dodge them all. Very nicely done by him. And this worked out a lot better than expected. Now the friendly team is losing Point Charlie here, but friendly forces have, at least the friendly forces I think are now here at the center. And there is an enemy Shimakaze. I think he just took a friendly torpedo. And now look at this convenient piece of island here. Clyde is protected from the Shimakaze's torpedoes. The Shimakaze won't be able to find a good angle to launch here. With the way Clyde is sailing, This island just protects him very nicely. Unfortunately, the Shimakaze escaped, but he is on fire, so that's the good news, I guess. Now it's looking pretty bad for the enemy team. They are losing ships and they are behind in points. And this Fletcher looks pretty doomed to me. And that was the Shimakaze that, well, obviously had no repair for the fire. Now down goes the Fletcher and there is even a double strike. And an enemy Roon who is turning to show broadside. And there's the Kraken. Yep, at this point the enemy team is pretty much doomed and this battle is over. Keep in mind the enemy battleship is still alive. I guess he was too afraid of the torpedoes to play more aggressively. But one battleship and one carrier won't be able to turn this around, not with how the points currently at. So yeah, I think we can just safely jump to the end here. Let's take a look at the results. Clyde managed to get himself 2,778 base experience and he managed to sink 5 ships. So this replay was, I think, fun to watch. And there was a nice little brawl with a cruiser, which is not something you see that often, especially at this tier. And Clyde managed to get himself Confederate Dreadnought Kraken and a double strike. He did 117,000 points of damage, and that might not seem a lot, but keep in mind that most of the enemies were destroyers, and destroyers don't have so many hit points. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed watching that, and I can only recommend you check out Clyde's stream. He's a fun guy, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.